was really, really neat to see people be provided value, to see customers like be happy, you know?
Tell me a little bit about your story, man.
Yeah. So my name is Daniel Ivan Vargas, and my dad's name is Daniel Vargas. Um, so for the sake of clarity, I'll just refer to myself as Ivan, and then my dad as Daniel. Uh, my dad
Awesome.
started the business roughly around 10 years ago. It wasn't called Pines Lawn Care. It was really just a sole proprietorship. And he got into the business after my uncle, who also had his own sole proprietorship, but was a full-time electrician at the time, was mowing lawns and he got injured. He fell from a ladder. So he asked my dad to step in and take care of some of the clients. That
Nice.
inspired my dad to actually begin doing it himself. At the time, I think we were raising goats. Um, I don't know if you've ever dealt with them, but they're pretty hard to. Uh,
Yeah.
it's a tough industry. You don't really control the price of food or what you get to sell it at. So then we switched over
Right.
from that. We sold the goats, and we started working in lawn care while he was also still working as a full-time electrician job.
Wow.
That continued for about 7 years.
Mhm.
And at the time, I think he got laid off because he had an injury. So then he stepped
Mhm.
into another full-time job for working with horses, but doing lawn care. And it was roughly around last year, September, where I
Mhm.
stepped in. So I was working throughout
Okay.
through that entire time. I would go out and
Yeah.
help him. Um, and, I think I was 12 at the time when I first started.
Mhm.
As a 12-year-old kid, it
Yeah.
wasn't the most interesting thing, but roughly when I was 16, I started getting a lot more interested into the business side. And then roughly when I was 19, I met a lot of people that were much more connected in business. So
Yeah.
one of my best friends now, his name is Alex. He's a little older than me, but he would work as a chief financial officer for a traveling company. And he recommended me a lot of people and got me a lot of connections that helped me set up Pines Lawn Care as an actual formal business. So
Nice.
Pines Lawn Care was incorporated September of last year. And
Okay.
by that time, he got me in contact with a designer called Santiago Pancavilla, who designed all the the logos, the truck wrap, the website, um, and then the door hangers, which then we got out rolling. And that was really the formal start of Pines Lawn Care.
That's awesome, man. So that's the backstory of it kind of forming and coming together. And so you've been officially the branded business for about a year now. How has that transitioned from kind of, figuring out, developing, building, that's a great segment. But now that you've been like branded, you have all this really professional front and name and cool brand. How have you seen that impact the company?
Yeah, I mean, it's been massive. So it's also been a lot of work. I think so. I'm a full-time college student, but my dad and his the fellow crew workers and whatnot. It used to be that we started with one crew this year, just him and my dad and his helper. Now we're at two.
Nice. That's
Like,
huge. That's awesome.
yeah, and it's been pretty great to grow so rapidly. There's a lot of growing
Yeah.
pains, obviously.
Right.
At the time when it really got started, I was in summer school, so it was difficult having a full-time course load of physics 2 and then calc 3, and
Mhm.
then getting a call during class and being like, oh, then I have to quickly step out and take it. But it was also
Yeah.
things, for example, my mom. We did a lot of door hangers, and that's one of the main methods. I think probably around 70% of all customers came from door hangers. We would provide an instant quote
Okay.
to the customer that, well, it's a lot of houses. She tells me she's a joke she likes to say is that she's really aware of what our town is now because she's walked all of it.
Yeah.
um,
She walked all the streets, man. I love it. That's
and then
awesome.
same with my dad. It was, he had his regular, at the time he was still working with his horses now, not so much as now, but it was pretty difficult that he would have to come here. Or in the morning he'd have to go and feed the horses, then go out and work all day and then come back to do that. And it was a lot of work and he was pretty stressed. Now things are winding down, and now that we've got a second crew, it's a little better now that he can, and also is relying from a previous job. So it makes things a lot easier for him, but it was a lot of effort. It was a lot of work. At least for me though, I think while I had some of the easier parts, I'm a customer service person and I'm an admin person, I think it was really, really neat to see people be provided value, to see customers like be happy, you know? And I think that was something that was like pretty rewarding.
That's awesome. That's super cool. Role that you've played in the business to help them grow it, and even your mom, what she's walking up the streets, hanging out door hangers, and then your dad feeding the horses before shift, and then going out and running the truck. And dude, so many people don't make it through getting to the second crew, like getting through that startup and like stepping out and investing in branding, investing in the energy and effort to step out of class when you have to, or after class, like work, continue to hustle. And like, man, that is, once you get over that hump, like that is where most businesses fail. And there's a couple other humps too, the 2-year hump and the 5-year hump. If you can get over those challenges, like the levels, I like to call it, like compare it to like a game, you guys beat some of the hardest challenges, so that's exciting. I'm sure you guys have a ton of good momentum because you've gone through that to get you through the next few big challenges. So man, everybody has their own goal in business. So some people's goal is to develop a company so they can have 1 to 2 crews running and it supports their family, and they work part-time in the business, and they have a great lifestyle. Some people are like, hey, I have a goal of owning 5 trucks or 10 trucks. And everybody's goal is like specific to them, so there's no right or wrong way. But what are some of like you and your family's goals? What do you want to accomplish with the business? And tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I think a lot of our development was led through, because especially when I was 19, and throughout the time, I would love listening to podcasts. And I found one of these micro influencers. His name is, at the time I started with, I believe, $1 Million Landscaping Podcast. And then I eventually found someone called Mike Andes. And
yeah, Mike.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
So I think one of the things that was like pretty neat about him was like he gave such a comprehensive view of how the business was supposed to develop, where it was like his roadmap from, your first solo proprietorship to your second crew to your actual hitting your $800 million mark. And I think that really was what allowed us to actually succeed and go past these steps of like, oh, you're stuck in solo proprietorship forever.
Yes.
Like that's really where I led. And I think what I ultimately want to do is, I guess, copy the model that he's posed and has had so much success with him. And it's, grow to $1 million, have your location, open up your second location and such. For me, my goal is, I'm an industrial engineer, or at least I'm trained to be an industrial engineer. My general expertise, I guess, if I had to sum it up, is looking at processes and trying to improve them. So this experience has been honestly pretty fun. It's been neat to try to every day look at this and apply what I learned from school and actually try to take and put it in practice in the real world.
Right.
My parents are older, so the ideal would be that we'd be able to get it to a point where they'd be able to not hit the field or not have to work and such things going on, and be able to take a different path in life. At least, I will also mention my brother and sister, even though they're younger than me, have been pretty pivotal in this relation in the organization. Just minor things, like they'll do minor admin stuff, but like it helps, like when me and my mother needed to go door knocking, or not door knocking, putting door hangers, my brother and sister would always be there to help.
Nice. That's
like,
awesome.
I think ideally the point is to eventually get to a point where it's not like a family business. It is more of a, set process, set system. Things aren't as personalized, and moving towards that. We're trying to currently, hopefully next year, we'll have the sufficient capital to hire a VA, the virtual assistant, to make, consistently have scripts that customers interact with and everybody set service, have a consistent complaint process in case anything arises. We're in the process of getting a lot more systems, but I think so far we've done an okay job at doing it sufficiently enough that way.
I love that. That's super cool. Listen, when you're able to start to set those processes up, I'm telling you, it is amazing as far as like, because like when you're in class, like it, as much as it's like, oh, awesome to take that, hustle, take that call or take that message and provide the value for the clients, like, oh, it's taken away from my bigger thing where I really need to focus on. But as you grow and you build the team and the staff, they can handle all that stuff for you, so you can focus on the vision, the bigger goal, the development, the standardization of around the company. And that way they can continue to build it without you. And then that is one of the things. So there's a couple different thoughts about business. Like you can grow it, develop it, and automate it so a lot of it runs on its own, or you can grow it, pump it, and then sell it. There's two different school of thoughts there. Either way, that is one of the challenges that most businesses don't, like you were saying, from the sole proprietorship to kind of an established business with a brand and operating from instead of just one truck and getting two trucks. That you guys have overcome that, and it's been amazing. And so it sounds like the next challenge that you guys will be growing towards is that, getting the admin streamlined outside of necessarily the family, where it's just somebody working in the business full-time, providing value for the clients and offering potential to scale so they can take on more. Say if you guys were just to double down on advertising, and then they would have no problem picking up the extra pounds, communicating schedules to the guys and all that stuff. So that's super cool that you guys are focused on that, because that is probably one of the next challenges and things for you guys to overcome and take over. So that's exciting.
Yeah, I think it's one of the things is like we're really excited about next year. So next year, the ideal would be that we'd be able to get the third crew up and running. It's an ambitious goal, but
wow, yeah,
it just depends on how banks of what the bank says. But the ideal would be to get there, and it would be that and the admin person. Granted, we're in a awesome position, but like we've managed to buy off the second truck fully. That's so like.
Wow.
The problem is right now we have the equipment loan, so we'll have to see how that actually impacts our ability to get the second loan for the more equipment and also the loan. But we've been making good payments on that, so let's talk to more bankers. I think it's just been it's been a lot of learning process. Like when you first started, when I first started with the designer. So my designer has been awesome. I really love the stuff he's made, but I didn't really know anything about Google search optimization or Google's like search essentials. I didn't know that was a thing. And as I've been in the process of trying to improve the marketing process, which is I think where probably like more of my training is coming back into, being able to know that kind of math aspect, is realizing that there's actually a lot more that you can do. And I hope next year as well to actually be able to get one of those professional websites that has the search optimization constantly, and have that and better optimize that. And I think I'm glad for at least also my experience with my dad, knowing that he's had a lot of operational experience. like he could teach me a lot and help me correct. Whereas like if it were just me, I would have made a lot more mistakes. Like, yeah.
Right.
It's neat to be able to draw from a lot of people's experience and be able to have a group effort. Whereas I think like one of the things that's also been interesting is that like because it is a group effort, of course, it does mean that like I don't get to move as fast as for some things because I have to consult with people. But I guess the benefit of that is that like if I did move quickly and then I moved in the wrong direction, there'd be no one to stop me. Whereas like I have that at least to keep me in check.
Yeah, that's one thing that I've noticed in my organization is that I'm a very fast-paced guy. It sounds like you are as well. But then I have these people who have different skills and also see the world differently. And they help me. Sometimes they just make me angry because maybe they're right and maybe I just want to be slow. But they help me see other perspectives that I might not have seen otherwise. And one of the things that talking about like leadership and making sure that everybody feels heard and we're all on this mission together through the different growth patterns and the challenges is learning how to understand myself and learning how to understand my team's how they operate. So what I mean by that is there's this course and I don't get endorsed by them or whatever. I've taken their tests and I believe in them. There's a couple ones. There's the 6 Working Genius, and that's a good one. But one that I've taken more recently and given me some even more in-depth insight is the 34. It's like called the Gallup or something. 34 core strengths. And are you familiar with that?
Yeah. I actually recently took that as well. I forget what they told me, but yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah. And so it was super powerful to actually, like normally I used to take it and it wasn't that big of a deal, but now I'm like, I take it and I'm like, wow, that is why I respond to certain situations in this way. And then I had a situation where one of my managers, every time I had one of my new ideas, we're like, guys, we're going to roll this out. It's going to be big. It's going to be huge. Here's what we're doing. Here's how we're going to do it. Let's roll. And he would be like, wait. And it felt like he was just questioning me, questioning my leadership, questioning that I couldn't accomplish it. And I took it all personally. I'm like, man, this guy we got to get him off the team. We got to get him off the boat, man, because he is like, he's killing our vibe. And once we took the test, I realized one of his 6 working geniuses, referring to the other test, was like wonder. And so he asked a lot of questions and he asked a lot of like, okay, I don't understand this. Can you explain it to me this way? And that was just one of his natural gifts is he sees things in a different way. And so that was mind blowing.
Yeah.
To learn that he wasn't just a jerk and wanted to slow down the mission is that was actually his gift. And realizing how to understand that and work with those people is, I think, essential for us as leaders to continue to grow the mission, but still do it successfully without having a bunch of bad relationships and firing a bunch of people because we don't know how to lead properly. You know what I mean?